Hey guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor and your leverage for change. Today I'm coming to speak to you about how we can manage our worry by our self talk, right? Now, guys, when I was growing up, I remember that if we saw someone talking to themselves, um, you know, maybe you're walking along the street and you see somebody standing over there talking to themselves. We were like told, I guess, by our society at that time and our parents and our friend, whoever it is that we got that from, that this person was crazy. Somebody who talks to themselves was considered crazy, right? And it was even worse if they talked to themselves and then answered themselves, asked themselves a question and then responded and answered the question that they asked themselves, right? But now I've learned in the years that as I grow up, that self-talk can be very therapeutic, and maybe those people who we consider to be crazy was much more in touch with themselves and their mental state than we are or we were, right? Because we just grew up with that kind of a belief system. And it's just funny how sometimes if we don't question those belief systems, we just continue to believe them. So what I've learned, guys, not only in my life, in my personal life experience, and also in my studies, reading books, doing all kind of stuff, I've learned that self-talk is very valuable. It's a very valuable tool in questioning certain things that happen and that we always take for granted, right? Because what we do with worry is that when we have a thought that comes to mind, we just accept it to be true. That is the root cause of worry. And then we build these stories around that thought that we believe is true, or that incident to be true, and then we just carry that, we just ride with that story. And remember, guys, when we create a story, we're going to have a lot of emotions around that story, because that fear is what brings those really intense emotions. And that fear, the emotions that we have because of fear, is further concretizing those limiting belief systems into our subconscious. So we find ourselves into a cycle of worry, because we never question, is this thought true? All right, so I'm going to go a little bit more in detail later on as to how I question my thoughts and how I'm able to manage my whenever something comes along in my thought that used to cause me to worry, or would have caused me to worry had I not changed the way I handle it. By the way, guys, before I kind of get into the meat of that, please check out my membership channel. Down below this video, there should be a button that says join. If you click on that, you will see that I have 5 levels of memberships that has the different offerings, and you can read it because I don't want to go through the whole thing. But at the lowest level, guys, it's $3.99 a month, and that is just to support me while I produce these, give you this free content on my channel. And also at the higher level, there are you're going to have included one-on-one coaching with me. You're doing the work yourself. You're not having me there to support you on a regular basis. But you can, if you're somebody who can do the work yourself, you'll get videos, you'll get live chats and stuff like that. So you can learn stuff, how to really get out of the situation that you are, change into becoming a more healthy version of you. And so that you're on a monthly basis, you have that coaching call, personal one-on-one coaching call with me for an hour, and then you can speak about more private and personal things that you would not want shared on a chat or in a group setting. All right, so let me continue with this thing of how to manage your worry. How do you manage manage worry using self-talk? So guys, today I want to share with you how I talk to myself on a regular basis, and what that allows me to do is to take back the control from those thoughts that, if allowed to just run rampant and wild and just go out there into and we just accept it to be true, it can cause us a great deal of harm emotionally, mentally, and eventually physically, if we just continue to worry day in, day out, because we just accept every thought that comes into mind. So what I do is, but guys, if people think that if you question yourself and you're talking to yourself, I really don't care what people think. I'm not really concerned with the opinions of others at this point in my life. I know that there are things that work and there are things that don't work, and doing self-talk works. Okay, so how do I talk to myself? Well, what we do is, the first thing we want to ask ourselves is, say for example, the thought that keeps coming up is that I'm going to fail my exam and get kicked out of the program, right? That's the thought coming up. That's the example I'm going to use for this. What you want to ask yourself is, are these thoughts, am I going to fail my exam and get kicked out of the program, are these thoughts true? They could be true, right? Maybe I'm in this scenario, I'm going to say they could be true because my scores were very bad, the last few exams I did. And so that's possible. I could fail my exams and get kicked out of the program. Sorry. What evidence do I have that these are true? Well, it was the scores on my last few exams that they were very low, and so this is the evidence that I have. I barely scraped through, passing, and it was just once you get more than 2 or 3 failures, you are kicked out of the program. So this is true. This is possible, right? But if they are true, if there's nothing, what can I do about it? What can I do about it? If it's true, what can I do about it? Well, I can make sure that I get some help from maybe a tutor if I don't understand certain concepts, and I can spend more time studying, right? Something that I can do about it. What can I do about it, right? If it's true. If it is not true, why spend the time worrying about it? Why spend the time? A lot of times we don't question it to see if this thing could be true or not. And so we just accept it and we just keep worrying and worrying and worrying about something that is not. We don't have any evidence. What evidence is there? There's no evidence. And so it's not true. It's just we're making up all these stories in our head that is going to cause us to worry because of the fear of something that might never happen. And so if it's not true, then we just have to realize that this is not true. So why am I worried, right? And if it's true, then you go and you do something about it. What can you do about it? What if there's something you cannot do about it? Say for example, there's nothing you can do. Maybe you've already failed all your exams, and all the exams that matter, and then you get kicked out of the program. Can you handle it? Are you able to handle this if this happens, right? Are you able to handle this situation if it happens? Well, it will be difficult, but I can handle being kicked out of school. I'll just have to maybe reapply to someone else and make sure another school or something, or go in and just kind of ask if they can, if there's something I can do to change their decisions or something. But can you handle it? And if you think about it, a lot of times we forget that we have handled far more difficult circumstances in our past, and not realize that we do have the strength and the courage sometimes to handle a lot of things that may come our way as challenges, right? So if you can handle it, yes, do what you need to do. If you can't change anything about it, then can you handle it? Yes, I'll be able to handle it. It will be difficult for me. It will be hard. It will be really painful, and for me to go through that process of being told that I can't continue the program, and I will just have to make different choices next time. I'll make sure that if I apply to another school and they accept me there, then I make sure I don't make the same mistakes. Because the thing about also failing at something, right, is that you learn. You use that failure as a lesson to learn. So even if something happens, guys, what that you're worried about, you can also use the mindset of, this is something that I can learn from. It's sad. It was my mistake. It was my, lack of, consistency and to study and do the work I needed to do that caused this. So you learn from that. That next time you go into a program, you are going to put the work that is necessary to get the results that you need. So it's a learning, lesson that you can learn from as well when you fail and have to go through difficult times. Can you handle it? Yes. I will, I know that I can handle it. It is not what I want, of course. Nobody wants that, but I can handle it. Sometimes too, a lot of these things that we go through as a result of the choices that we make in our lives, or as a result of stuff that just happens, right? Maybe others have made different choices and you get caught up into that kind of, into that kind of scenario where you're also feeling the effects of the choices of others, right? Then you have to realize that what you can do is learn. There's always a benefit from each life lesson that we go through, guys, and that is to learn the lesson that thing came to teach you. Learn from it, and the next time around, you're able to go ahead and not make the same mistakes that you did in the past. One of the things that also happens as a result of failures in our lives, that maybe there are worries that are really things that will happen, because of things that we either didn't do or did do. And so maybe there are these type of worries that we have that comes to fruition because of things that we didn't do. Then what we can do, what we can also learn, that by going through the effects of this thing that we should have done, right, that wasn't done, then we can become stronger for it. We've learned we've gained some level of strength from this experience. And this experience kind of also reminds you that you're strong enough to go through difficult times, and that can result in really improving and increasing your self-confidence and feelings of self-worth. So guys, if you look at it, that there's no way that you can actually lose. It's a win-win, whether or not the thoughts that come to mind is something you can do something about, or if the thoughts that come to mind is something you can't do something about, and you have to go through the results of things that you failed to do or did incorrectly. All right, guys, so I hope that kind of made some sort of sense to you and kind of give you some ideas on how to manage your worry when it comes. And remember, guys, whenever you have situations that come like worry, don't invite this thing in before you question it. Treat this thing, worry, as a visitor who comes knocking on your door, and you stop before you open that door to let them in. You stand there in between the door, just a kind of way of looking at it. You stand inside the door, they're outside the door, and you're asking these questions that I kind of mentioned in this in this recording. All right, guys, so I hope that kind of helped. Please don't forget to check out my membership, the join button below, and also please like and share this video if you find some value in it. Subscribe to my channel and also hit that notification bell so that as soon as I upload a new video, you will be notified. Guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Until next time, take care.